Okay, I'm just going to quickly give an intro to host files. Host files are just kept on your machine, but we're going to use it to just change the DNS to give it to bypass the actual domain name, so that it doesn't use the auto lookup. And you can see here I'm using a little program. You can find these all over the internet. You just go onto Google. I actually might have a copy of this one. This one's probably one of the better programs I've found. If you type in host file editors, just find one for a Windows based one, or free open source host file editors, and there'll be a list of them come up. There's one here. It might take a little while to have a look at some good ones, and trial them. It took a while to find one that we liked. There's another one here. You can download it, and it's just designed to be able to easily access your host file, as opposed to using the address. I can't even remember the address myself, but it'll be here. There it is. That's the actual address. So it explains to you if you really wanted to find it, and there's the actual host file that we're changing. And it's usually you can just search it. And sometimes it's hidden. And that's, yeah. Anyway, I'm just going to show you the shortcut for it, so we don't need to worry about that. I'm using my little hosts editor here, and open it up, and then in here I've just used some examples here. I've created these ones, dougwilliams.com, and when you actually create it, you need obviously the IP address, which is 192.254.203.196. That's where it's actually creating the host at the moment, temporarily. If I untick these and go into Google, and I type in williams.com, we can see here that this is the original site. This is where it is at the moment. You can see that. And what we're going to do though is we've actually created another hosting account. We've started developing it so that it can be switched to a different CMS system, WordPress. So at the moment, if you try and log into the back end, it won't find it because it uses a different login. So what we'll do now is I'll just get rid of it, and we'll just change it. I'll just tick these back on, which will switch it to these addresses. And now when we come onto it, back on the Doug's, it'll refresh. We can press Control R as well. Control R will also give it a hard refresh, and we can also create a DNS flush on the command. Sometimes that happens, and you just go into the command prompt, you can Google it, and you just type in flush DNS / I think it is. I could probably search that as well. Let me just have a look in here. Flush DNS with command prompts. It should just come up here. What's the actual? I think it's ipconfig flush DNS from memory. There it is, ipconfig flush DNS. So that's actually so it's /flush DNS ipconfig. Couldn't remember it, but so if we were to use the command prompt now, we would type in ipconfig /flush DNS, press enter, and it says successfully flush the DNS resolver cache. So all the browsers is completely wiped, and if I press Ctrl R once again on this site, this site here, even though it looks exactly the same, is actually the new site that we've been developing and switching over to WordPress, and it looks pretty much exactly the same. And this is where we can test our site here now to have a look at it. And the only difference that we will know is because it says hello world on the blog feeds, because we haven't put the content in, so that's good. It's the actual site. And the other thing is that it's that's it. This is the site, and it says Mr. WordPress, so we know that this is has to be, even though it looks exactly the same, has to be the new site with the new CMS. And to confirm it, we should be able to log into the back end. We probably don't have GCM Press installed yet, so it might be just the default, and which it is. So there it is, Doug Williams, and it's on WordPress, and we haven't installed our GCM Press yet, and we obviously haven't finished the site because we're still in testing. But we can see that the actual host editor file is working. Now from here, there's a lot of bonuses, because you can quickly, with the host file editor program, I can quickly go in here and tick them. You can have multiple websites that you're working on, and if you're sharing it with a client, then all you have to do is TeamViewer in. So you can TeamViewer in with a client, or you can actually, if you're on Skype, just share the screen on Skype, and you can talk through with your client and just say, look, this is the site that we're building. If it's a redesign, it'll look completely different, but you'll be able to show them on the site, and they'll be able to approve it. They can actually take the controls off you because you're sharing the screen, and they'll be able to have a play with it as well to see if everything's working exactly how you want it to work. And the good thing is instead of using an actual local test server like XAMPP or MAMP or whatever, you don't have to have a virtual machine set up and share the link, or you don't have to set up a subdomain, because once the client's confirmed it, it's sitting exactly where it needs to be. The IP address is exactly the same. So all we then have to do is delegate the name server, log in, delegate the name server, and away we go. So it eliminates the double handling, and that's probably the main reason why we choose to do it this way, as opposed to sending links to clients. It's a lot more streamlined, a lot more quicker, and obviously cuts down the development time. Okay, I guess I'll just quickly show you how the host file editor. I'll delete the records. If you actually just come up here, I won't delete it, but there's the IP address. So 192.254.203.196, and over the top here, it's very important you have to save the host file. So if we click on add a new, you'd obviously put it in the address 192. I'm just going to try and remember it, 192.254.203.196, and then the domain name, and all you have to do here is nothing else but Doug Williams, because that's what it is, .com. And if you enable the host and add a copy with www, then what that will do is it will actually means that if you can type it in without the www or with the www, and it will come up. If you enable a host, what it means is it'll be ticked straight away, and obviously you'll be looking at this address for every time you go to the site. If you don't tick it and we click it, then it won't be activated, and if you click it, you can activate it, and then you click OK, and then it would come up in here the same way it has here. And that is it. So if there's any questions at all, send a link or whatever, or put a comment on Asana. And if you want to know how to do it manually, if you don't want to use a host file editor, which is not a good way to go, because you have to unhide your files, then you can just look up a tutorial how to edit my host file on Windows 7. There you go. And any of these would be fine. There's probably a video here as well. So it's probably fine as well. There you go, and it'll go through and give you the details on how to do it, like changing the folder options that you need to do, make sure the file's not hidden, and then running as an administrator on your notepad, which is also important. And yeah, we used to do this all the time, but it's just, you know, more time consuming when you're dealing with multiple sites. You've got to go in, find the file. So the host file editor program is much quicker, much faster.